When the road looks rough ahead, you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed. Just remember what your old pal said. You've got a friend in me. That's right. You got a friend in me. When you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got troubles, well, I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We sit together and we see it through. Yeah, you've got a friend in me, alright. You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too. But none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, girl, and as the years go by, our friendship ain't never gonna die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. Yeah, you've got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too. None of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, girl, and as the years go by, our friendship ain't never gonna die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. Yeah, you've got a friend in me. That's right. You got a friend in me. Oh yeah. You got a friend in me. I love that song. Before I get started with the talk, I'm going to go ahead and set up for the song after the talk. So we'll be ready. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Kyle Shiver, music minister here at Unity of Savannah. For those of you who I don't know, I'm also a licensed Unity teacher candidate. All I got to do now is go back and take the tests, and I'll be done. So, Reverend Dale asked me to speak to you this morning on the subject of sacred service. And he didn't tell me anything else except for that. So I get to pretty much do what I want, which is what we usually do anyway, right? Wow, what a wonderful thing this is to be here with you all this morning, and what a wonderful blessing my life is to be able to play music, to do what I love with such a great, I mean, this is really a good thing that we have going on with the band here. It's really, you know, I don't ever want to take that for granted because I know how nice it is. I know one year, Rochelle, Tony, and I had 13 different drummers. They were all, you know, if you think it's easy to find the right drummer or the right bass player, it is not. So here we are, and today's subject is on the subject of sacred service. And the first thing I thought of when I sat down and started contemplating what I would be talking about this morning is a program, an organization called Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, there are a lot of people who go to Unity who are in 12-step programs. So I'll say, I'm not asking you, do you go to AA, but how many people are familiar with the story of AA or with the 12 steps? I mean, there's a lot of people in every church that go to AA. The whole point to my story that I'm getting to is that AA is everywhere. It's not just in Unity. We think it's just here, but it's all the churches. It's people everywhere in 12-step programs of various kinds. But when I think about sacred service, I can't help but think about the fascinating story of Bill Wilson, Bill W., who had been working with another guy and had been working with some spiritual ideas and had actually stopped drinking. These guys had stopped drinking. If you're not an alcoholic, it's real easy to look at an alcoholic and go, oh, I'll just stop drinking. But if you're an alcoholic, they drink themselves to death. It doesn't matter what happens. They drink themselves into sanitariums, and they can't stop, and they really want to. It's a strange phenomenon. So these guys found a way to stop drinking. And Bill had stopped drinking for a few months and had actually gotten to working again and had gone to Ohio on a business trip. And he walks into the hotel and there's the happy, joyous bar and everybody's laughing and he hears the sounds coming from the bar and the smoke's billowing out and the music is going on. And he had this idea that I need to find an alcoholic and help an alcoholic stop drinking so that I won't drink. I'm either going to go in that bar and I'm going to do what I've always done a million times over and I'm going to die or wind up in the hospital again. Because Bill went to the hospital many, many, many times, over and over and over. So he goes to the phone booth and he calls a hospital and he says to whoever answers the phone at the hospital, I need a drunk person. I need an alcoholic. I need somebody to help because it helps me when I help somebody else. And they gave him a phone number to a doctor's house. The hospital said, we got a drunk for you. Dr. Bob, go over to his house and see if you can help this guy because he's almost dead. And he won't stop. And we don't know what to do with him. And we all love him. And he has the whole world around him, everything you could possibly want, and he's going to drink himself to death. So Bill went over there to this guy's house and started talking. And Bob heard what Bill had to say and started not drinking the next day. They got him detoxed, and he went out and began to work with these spiritual principles. And so you have Bill W. and Dr. Bob, who are the co-founders of AA. And the fascinating thing about it is that was in the 1930s, and today you can't go anywhere in the world where there's no AA meetings or there's no people in the program. You can go to any church you want to. There's people there that go to 12-step programs. It doesn't matter where you are. Somebody came up to me after the first service and said, I was just on a cruise, and they have meetings on the cruise ships all the time. She's like, it's not just once a day. I mean, it's, once or twice or three times a day they get meetings on the cruise ships. So it's phenomenal to me that the whole thing started from the idea I need to help somebody else get what I want. I need to go help someone else not drink. And then what the people in AA say is that they lose the obsession to drink, which is a pretty big deal, I would say. If you've ever seen alcoholism firsthand or addiction, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, what an idea. What an idea to go help somebody get what I want, and then I actually get what I want from helping you get what I want. And they say that it works even if the other person keeps on drinking, even if they don't listen, even if they're not ready to stop yet. It's pretty interesting. So when I go help someone else get what I want, I get what I want. It doesn't compute in the brain. Work with that idea if I'm experiencing lack in my life, if I don't have enough money to pay my water bill, or if I want to make more money so I can go on vacation this year. My brain doesn't think, "Ooh, let's go see who we can help make some money." Does it? But what Bill and Dr. Bob did, what they were doing, perhaps consciously, perhaps unconsciously, they were igniting the universal laws that we talk about in here all the time. Jesus told us, you are forgiven when you forgive. Simple as that. You don't have to ask me for forgiveness. All you got to do is forgive, and you're already forgiven. All you got to do if you want to receive is what?
Yeah.
Good. That's all you got to do. And it's done. And still, it doesn't compute in my brain. It doesn't compute in my brain. When I need money, I'm not thinking about how to go help you make money. I'm thinking about how I can get some money. And that's the trap that we fall into. So that's why we come here, and that's why we meet, and that's why we talk about this stuff, because we've got to be aware of what we're doing. And with sacred service, we're actually quite often going against what we might want to do. We might be going against what our first instinct is. You know, it can be hard to volunteer. It can be hard to make a commitment to do something. But if we know, we come to understand that we're going to get from the giving. You know, that's how we get, is helping others get what they want, or get what we want, right? And it works. It is totally, totally amazing how this stuff works. And trust me, I am a living example that these spiritual principles work. I'm not going to go into detail with you, but the fact that I'm standing up here with this band playing music in this church, standing up here in front of you, is a miracle. I could have easily been dead a long time ago. My mother took out life insurance on me when I was 15 years old. and my daddy still pays it. And that should tell you all you need to know, right? So what I really want to get to today is I really want to get down to the idea of this universal law idea. This idea of giving and receiving. Okay? Tithing my time, my money, tithing my talents. But I want to really instill in you the idea of the circle. The idea of the flow. Because what we're looking for here is a balance. What we're looking for here is a balance, because when we're in the flow of spirit, when we're in Christ consciousness, that's when we're grounded. That's when we're connected. That's when God expresses through us as us. And God expresses through us as us, doesn't it? It does. Everywhere we go and everything we do. Balance. I do not like to need. I do not like to need help. I do not like to not have enough money. I do not like to not be able to pick up something. Because, 20 years ago, I could pick up a lot more than I can now. Now somebody says, hey, can you help me move this? And I'm kind of like, oh, well, how heavy is that? It depends. 20 years ago, I was like, yeah, I gotta get out of the way. And I'm all running. So when I need help, when it comes to receiving, that is when I fall into beating myself up. See, I don't think I'm supposed to need help. I think I'm supposed to be better than I am. I think I should have a better job than I have. I think I should make more money than I make. I think I should have done this with my life instead of that. It's so easy to fall into the trap of putting myself down. And man, I just can beat on me. Nobody else does, like nobody else does. Right? So I want to really investigate here the fact that I cannot give all the time. And I'm talking to myself. It's impossible to just give all the time. Everything in this universe is a circle. It's a flow. You got to take, you got to give. And I have to remember that when I need help, right? Because sometimes I need help. Sometimes I don't maybe have enough money to do what I want to do. Sometimes I might not be able to pick that up. Sometimes I may not know what to do in a certain situation, and I may need to seek guidance from somebody, and that's okay. So each of you individually, what I want us to do today is to think about, boy, where am I at? Am I just giving all the time? Am I giving, and am I receiving anything? So they talk about self-care. They talk about self-care with prayer chaplains. Prayer chaplains got to take care of ourselves. We got to stay prayed up. We got to make sure we meditate. We got to make sure we're here. We got to make sure we're in good shape when we come to be prayer chaplains on Sunday or when we do our prayer calls. Because when the oxygen tanks come down, you need to put yours on first before assisting other passengers. Right? It's true. Because if they come down and you decide, well, I'm going to help you get yours on, you might go out before you got to get that thing off. So we got to work with where is the balance? Where am I at in the flow of this giving and receiving, of this in and out, of this give and take? Where am I at? Sometimes in life, it kind of happens quickly. Recently, my mother was really ill, and she made her transition, and it happened over the span of 2 months. We found out she was sick. She passed 2 months later. So there was a lot of driving back and forth going over there. And man, when you're there, you got to be good. You're there to, what can I do? What do you need? How can I help you? What can I do in the situation? But boy, when I would leave, whoo, I was done. I mean, I was a mess when I would leave. And so it became a matter of you go in, you do what you got to do, you go out, and you fall apart. And you do whatever you need to do to put yourself back together again so that you can go back in. Right? And that is an intense situation. So there was a lot of going in, coming out, having to put myself back together again. There was a lot of it. And must have been, it might have been you, Miss Evelyn. I was talking on the phone to somebody one day when I was trying to, in the process of putting myself back together so that I could go back in, and somebody said, "You are not the minister today." Right? That was her. You. Not today, baby. Not today. And you know what? That's good. I needed to know that because my brain, my mind tells me, oh, the minister is always good. He don't need any help. He's perfect. He's not a person. In my brain, that's how I see a minister. Right? But that's not the truth. That's not how it is. Ministers have fall apart and have to get put back together again. Ministers, we're people too. So We have to focus, be consciously aware today of where you are in this circle, how it's operating in your life, how you are operating it in your life, knowing when that you need help, knowing when you need to receive, knowing when you've given too much and you need to pull back. Right? It's important that we do it all, taking care of ourselves. I had a friend over in Albany when I was over there. I grew up over there, so I know a lot of people, and I was talking to an old friend of mine that I'd grown up with. He was caring for his mother who's got Alzheimer's disease. So, where my family's situation was real short, his is not. It's a very long and drawn out situation that he's dealing with. He texted me the other day, how are you doing? How are you and your dad doing? I texted back, we're doing okay, we're hanging in there. How are you? And he sent me a text back, and it said, I'm trying to be a caregiver instead of a caretaker. I thought that was very profound myself. I thought it's very profound. Wow, a caregiver instead of a caretaker. Trying to be a caregiver instead of a caretaker. That's a neat idea. I wanted to talk to him and say, hey man, sometimes you gotta be a caretaker. It's okay to be a caretaker when you need to be a caretaker, you know? But how do you, it's so ironic because we're talking about a circle here. And when I need care, when I need help, when I need assistance, when I need love, when I don't have anything to give, when I'm down, I get love. I talk to people. I call Miss Evelyn on the phone. I pray. I do my things. And then I get to a point, and what's the way out of it? As soon as I can give, as soon as I can be a caregiver again, I have to start being a caregiver again. That's what we do. That's how we get out of it. It's a circle. And it's amazing. And everything that you do is a prayer. Everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you think, everything that you do is sacred service, can be sacred service. Washing the dishes, smiling at somebody, opening the door for somebody. Your whole demeanor, your energy, everything about you is your sacred service. You are an expression of Christ. God expresses through us as us. We say that all the time. God expresses through us as us. And when we are present, when we are in the moment, when we are in this moment, the eternal here and now, we're like a live wire of energy. We're connected. Emmett Fox, the golden key. Everybody know that? He basically says, whatever your problems are, don't think about them, think about God. So I called Reverend Dell one day, and I said, well, what is God? He makes it sound so easy. And Reverend Dell said, well, wow, what kind of things help you connect? Or, what kind of things help you connect? And I said, I like to listen to the birds. My office is in the garage, and I love it when the birds are singing outside. I always know they're there. When we go to the mountains and we go on a hike up to the top of the mountain. And, nature, going to the ocean, those kinds of things. And the more I went on with this, I finally landed on you. When I think of, what is God? What am I supposed to think about? I'm supposed to think about you. Stop thinking about your problems. Think about God. And what is God? God is law. God is principle. How can I be of service to you? How can I help you? And what happens when I do that? The alcoholics lost the obsession to drink. Some of the most intelligent minds that have existed during the time of our history worked with alcoholics during that time period, and they said, we can do nothing to help you. You are doomed. You are going to drink yourself to death. You're going to have a guard. You're going to be in the hospital, and there's absolutely nothing that we can do to stop you. And the alcoholics didn't want, they were pleading. It was horrible. They couldn't stop hurting themselves. And when they started working with these laws, they got sober. And the obsession that before wouldn't go away, went away. And it grew all over the world. When I go to Albany, I go through a town called Nahunta. You know where that is?
Yeah.
And every time I drive through there, there's an AA clubhouse on the side of the road, and I see the sign. And I just think, man, this stuff is everywhere. That's pretty successful. It's the same way that unity is. We come here, we work with the principles, we learn the principles, we practice the principles, and we grow. Why do we come here? We get something from it. My life is better because I come here. That's why I come here. You know? So we all come, and we all give, and we all receive. I did want to mention, again, that next weekend we're having the prayer chaplain training. I knew that please you. Sacred service here, opportunities to do sacred service here at the church. I've been a prayer chaplain for 2 years, and somebody asked me not long ago what the best thing about it was. And the best thing about it was that I made new friends. I got closer to people. You know, because it's easy to come to church on Sunday and go home, come to church on Sunday, go home, come to a concert every now and then, or come to Spirit Fest every now and then. But how about spending a day with somebody? How about actually doing things with people and getting to know people? And that's going to be next weekend, right? It's Friday night.
Friday from 6 to 9, Saturday 10 to 4.
Okay. And that's the best thing about it. Sign up, yeah, you can sign up, and it's the best thing. But there's opportunities here, there's opportunities all around you, but my invitation to you today and for this week is to contemplate this idea of the circle. Where am I at in the circle? Do I need to take a little better care of myself? Do I need to take a little bit right now? You know? Or where can I give? I love that St. Francis prayer. Where can I bring light where there's darkness? Where can I bring love where there's hatred? That's what we focus. That's where we go in the mind. Let's take that into prayer. So much love and so much power, so much aliveness, so much consciousness in this room. When we come together, all as individuals, when we come together into this space, we become one collective consciousness. We know there's one power, there's one presence in this universe, and we know that it is awake and alive within us. It's awake and alive as us. We know it expresses through us, as us, and that every moment of every day is another moment to serve, to love, to express good. As we go forth into our lives today, we will take this. We'll remember this. We'll contemplate this. We will grow spiritually. Our lives are going to become more full, more richer, more wonderful, filled with more gratitude. we're so in the flow with these universal laws, with this circle of giving and receiving. We're so fully in the flow. We are it, it is us. And we joyously say, thank you, amen, and so it is.
And now we shall perform another song for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ear and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I can buy with a little help from my friend. I can hire a little help from my friend. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friend. Now what do I do when my love is away? Does it worry you to be alone? How do I feel by the end of the day? You're sad because you're on your own. No, I get by with a little help from my friend. I get high with a little help from my friend. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friend. Do you need anybody? Need somebody to love? Could it be anybody? Want somebody to love? Would you believe in love at first sight? Yes, I'm certain it happens all the time. What do you see when you turn out the light? I can't tell you, but I know that it's mine. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friend. I get high with a little help from my friend. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friend. Do you need anybody? Need somebody to love? Could it be anybody? Want somebody to love? What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friend. I get high with a little help from my friend. I wanna try with a little help from my friend. Yep.
They just delivered our pizzas. Very important work. Here at Unity, we have 5 basic principles that we live by, and please join me in reciting these. The first one is, there is only one power and one presence in our lives and in the universe, God. And the second one is, we are the Christ of God in expression. And number 3, thoughts plus feelings equals outcome. And the fourth one, there is power in affirmative prayer and meditation. And the last one is, we must live the truth we know. And one way